Well, hello, it's your host here, Eric of Gmodism, and we're back into From the Depth to continue on the Yamato refit for Martincitopants Ultra Yamato. And you can see this little beautiful creation in front of you. You may think it looks a little bit different, and that is because it is. Can you see it? I just made this entire thing to replace alloy with metal. Why? Well, I just wanted to see if the armor actually helps a lot more when we have metal instead of alloy. So we're actually gonna spawn in an extra Yamato as an enemy faction, but with the standard alloy version, just to test. So let's go. The metal Yamato versus the alloy Yamato. It's like the notification menu is absolutely clogged. They both have the small issue of not having enough ammunition. So I think the bulk of the damage will be applied by the laser, to be honest. As it's digging through here, the metal hull. Eating our laser systems here. This is why they need to be interconnected. But basically, I just want to see if there is a significant difference, because to be honest, metal is the best block in terms of armor per cost. Alloy is actually not a very good block to have on the outside of ships. Metal is much more superior. What the one with the metal has to do, though, is to basically float using propellers, so-called up props. Because it won't float by itself, of course, which is a huge downside because it needs to use a lot of engine power for it. So the bulk of the ship will be in alloy anyways, spoiler alert, but the exterior shell can be very beneficial to be made out of metal instead. What the heck? We have started to tilt a little bit here, I feel. And that's despite all the alloy here, so that's a little bit interesting. And you know, oh damn, that's a nasty hit. It's a little bit funny here, because here we have the Mel Yamato, but because we have a lot of these propellers underneath it, it kinda stays at the right level, even though it is technically more damaged. You can see that the entire engine compartment at the back here has been taken out. Now, the armor episode will be a later thing. I'm not happy with the armor as is. I just wanted to have a tiny little test between alloy and metal. Alloy is a little bit in the lead here, and most likely, to be honest, it's probably mainly luck. But we can see that it may not matter that much. And I do suspect also that the engine power, or not even suspect, you can see on the metal version, the engine power is depleted. We are not having as much as engine power anymore. What do we use the engine power for? Well, the golden laser is using that, which basically means, in effect, the alloy version basically has more damage per seconds because the laser has that ability to output it, since it doesn't need to use that engine power to float, basically. Good to know. So we may need to redo this test later, but I thought it would be interesting to just check out a little bit. We're going to, as said, go through the Yamato's main weaponry. We are going to make new weapons too, but that will not be in this particular episode because you have voted before that you want CRAM mortars of Hell Rain, which we will install on the Yamato as requested. But first, we'll need to fix the existing weapons. Now, we have upgraded the laser massively. Before we go through with that, however, I will just say huge thanks to all the commissioned officers in the army of Gmodism, especially Commodore Owen, Captain Shuro, Commander Morden, Lieutenants Anto, Cravey, Drew Candobetta, Flawless Dagon, Powered by Greed, Vincent Veritas, Brick Brawl and Scooby Rocks, and also to all our cadets and the Ecclesiarchy of Gmodism supporting us as YouTube members. We got like a good couple of these tiny little AA guns and stuff like this. Honestly, these have no business on being here. Each sub-object basically causes a little bit of lag, right? So we should try to limit them as much as possible if we have the opportunity to do so. Which basically means that, like stuff like this, on this scale of a ship, it has no business being here. We can put some other guns there later, but honestly, it's just a lag fest, and it's completely unnecessary. Like, the firepower these provide is just not worth it. By the way, bunching together guns like this won't really work very well either, so that can be good to know. And oh yeah, there we have the jank detection. So yeah, basically we are just simply removing these ones. Simple weapons. These look a little bit decent here, but honestly I think we'll actually have to design new weapons here. For the time of being, it is better to just remove them, because they will cause some lag. Here we don't quite... Well, perhaps it doesn't make so much harm, but we need to set that up later in a episode about defenses anyways. Gone. And as said, I know the real Yamato has a lot of, like, AA guns all over the place and stuff like that. We just can't let them be these tiny, simple weapons like this. We'll have to have proper turrets that does actual damage. These small AA guns just don't provide a lot of damage at all. So it doesn't make sense to have them, considering how much more extra lag they indeed are adding. And here we have more. Like here we have, this is only here for decoration, however. But it's quite unuseful having some machine guns there. It's like, why? Alright then. Now we come to the little bit difficult situation where we have some not great turrets, but they are part of the original design. So it would be technically better if I just removed like the turrets and built new ones myself, but I wouldn't feel that is quite right to the design. We are thus going to try and fix these turrets as best we can to make them at least much better than before. Just need to clean up some more jank guns. We're gonna do a little left-right cut to see what's inside it. And I've been noting down some suggestions from the comments, by the way, so we might actually increase the thrust a little bit more with connecting up some propellers from the existing engines that we added, so we can have even more propulsion. That will be seen later, however. Right now, what we're going to do is try and fix whatever we can fix on these turrets. As said, we are not going to rebuild them from scratch, because that would be a little bit... I want to improve them, right? I want to show you how to make them better. And obviously I have my own opinions and ways on how to build turrets in specific. So for example, I wouldn't use turret necks really. So that's something I actually advise against, having turret necks like this. But if you have turret necks, I'm gonna show you how to basically make them not die as easily. Anyways, we can see here we have a very similar CRAM cannon here, like this and this, and they are being put they have some different kind of elevations here. So we have this barbette or whatever it's called that's just a little bit elevated basically, and then we have the same turret under hull. This thing is obviously a bit of a catastrophe, but it is what it is. We're going to fix that a little bit then also. Then we have these turrets here on the side. We seem to have 6 of these. It seems to be the same turret exactly. So I would think it makes a lot of sense to fix one of these turrets and place them down here on all of them. Now, this is, oh damn, look at, oh yeah, This is like the worst case scenario of building turrets. Like this is, it's literally one block connecting, it looks like. Oh no. Maybe 2 blocks because it's 1 each, but damn. Yeah, that will have to fix, obviously. Then we have this one here. And that is very similar to this turret here, is it not? Yeah, it seems they only have a little bit of a different type of elevation then. But they will need to be built separately. These are the main guns on the ship, however. So I think we shall begin with the CRAM cannons. Now, I'm just gonna check here if this CRAM cannon, is it the same exactly as this one? If they have the same height, that's definitely not the same. And they don't, it might actually be the same, okay. So we're basically going to go to our little build platform. So we need to save these as, so I'll just save them all. The turrets that need fixing, so we can bring them to the platform for some building. Like this, big Yamato side AA gun. It's kind of fun that they saved the name here. You can see big Yamato side sieves. Got it. And there we have this one. Long and short. Got it. Oh, this one too. And this is one... What? Is it literally just called... Everyone has cool names. Well, I will preserve your name. And you, what are you called? That's also... two. Great. Right then. Now we're basically going to remove all these old... gun systems, just so that we can see how it looks without them, basically. Because they are obviously not quite what we're looking for, and they will only sink us down. So let us remove them so that we can clean up wherever they were standing on, and make some proper EMP insulation and stuff like that. That good old jazz, which we are looking for. Alright, and this one. It's a lot of them. Alright, see you in a bit. Something like that, I would think. And there we have it. The completed removed stuff. Great, so now we can examine these little holes here. And we can clearly see that this is a nice little foundation it stands on. I will, however, wonder if we just remove some blocks there. Actually, let us do that. We're gonna have a little better foundation for this thing. Now, this is a little bit hit or miss, to be honest, but if we use a 7-meter heavy armor duct, the chance that this block is gonna be completely destroyed isn't very high. So yeah, that can be a smart little thing to basically have it to stand on a platform that's a duct. Now, I usually like to have some armor around this turret inside of it, but honestly, We'll need to save that for a armoring episode. We can't try and do everything at once here. Ah, so close. You see this? It is EMP insulated from 3 sides. Unfortunately, it stands on a heavy armor, which is basically superconductor. So, yeah, that basically does nothing. Since it's, yeah, it is what it is. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, here we had a all-in-one local weapon controller, and that can be added as a backup. That is true, but also remove some stuff here. It's also like all of this heavy armor for this. Yeah. No. We're actually just gonna remove this platform of heavy armor. It's just too expensive and it doesn't really make sense. Just remove all that. Why all of these? We don't need them either. They are not really providing value here. And I think we'll go as well with this thing. We'll just put this on a duct slab like this. For all means, this little extra computer can be here as a little backup. Doesn't hurt really. We can always have some heavy armor that it kind of stands on as some connection points. But honestly, usually you don't need a lot. That should probably be fine. And you don't even need to be, it doesn't even need to be like heavy armor. You can just remove, it's like an unknown little structure below here. I don't really, I have a feeling that Martin had maybe like something else planned and then he kind of changed his mind or something. Well, this will be fine. You know, these blocks here on the side, they have pretty good health. So we can actually do like this. Nice connections. It's not very likely to be hit, but well, I guess we can boost that in the later little armor episode. Now, inside of here, however, we have the laser core. That's why it's so darn well armored. And that it can be. Now, what is this? Well, we'll remove the rest of those artifacts, we can call them. And that's that. To the other turrets, we have this one here. I think this one is we're sitting on a better foundation actually. Yeah, okay. Huh. Yeah, we're going to do the same here. So I'm just gonna open up some space so we can just slab down a heavy armor duct for it to stand on in the approximate middle of wherever it was. Exactly kind of there, I think. It's like a cheap way to have a pretty good foundation. Let's just have a metal one beneath so it can stand firmly. Okay. That and that. Here we have this thing too. So we're going to... Here we have some heavy armor overuse. So we're going to remove this section there and just slap down. Actually, we can invest in a heavy armor one here, and that's probably a fine little setup. Go away. Very nice. I want to be a little bit careful with like shift deleting because you never know what's connecting, what type of connecting blocks we have. It can lag real bad if you like remove an entire ship layer of armor, which can be easy to do if you're not careful. So we're gonna work a little bit more on the armor scheme, as said before in future episode. I'll just provide a tiny little bit of connection points there so it will stand firmly. Now we have these other turrets as well. So we fix this connections there. Here we have like the same scenario. We have a partial. Oh, oh, look at that. That's a rubber block. This is much better protected than anything else. This is yeah, I think this works. I'll need to test that, to be honest. We'll need to test that. I don't build turrets in the same way here, but I think this may actually be a decent EMP installation. So that's really nice to see. I want to see if they will transfer to the side of an turret block that has like technically no connection point. I'm not sure it does, to be honest, but we're gonna check that. So I think it may be decent EMP protection actually. But again, I don't build my turrets that way, so we'll need to check that. And we'll just have a little bit too much of these surge protectors there. They will not provide the security one might hope they do. It's almost like we have a prefab here for this. One of them or two is probably just enough. Yeah, so this almost turns a little bit into like an interior armoring episode or something. Which wasn't the intention. It's hard to keep one topic at a time, because when you're fixing a ship, like you see something needs fixing and then you just do it and then you realize, damn, that's kind of off topic. But well, what can we do? At least we are progressing, which is the entire point here. So we're gonna remove that. So you can see we kind of have this little structure of heavy armor there. And I'm just simplifying it a little bit. It's pretty a-okay, but perhaps just a little bit unnecessary. So there we go. You can see when we remove these guns, the Yamato dropped to a cost of 2.5 million. So now we basically look at the firepower here. It's pretty crazy. It has a good firepower, but it's all laser now. So that's very funny. Now let's go to the weapons building platform and check out some of that. Now we have these like 3x3s. I think we can fit in some gun here too, to be honest. So that I think, oh, look at that, that's interesting. So I think we have some opportunity to have a little smaller gun here on the sides too, which is fun. And here we like have these. Why do we have a protection from above? I feel like these probably don't provide much defense, but add a ton of weight. So I'm just unceremoniously removing these. Yeah, I don't see the reason for having like heavy armor sheets to defend downwards, where it's basically, oh no, I think I may have removed a too large amount of heavy armor blocks now. Oh no. Oh. Oh damn. Oh. Let's undo that. I apparently removed the wood. So that's why it lied a little bit. Yeah, okay. Anyways, now this little armor here on the turret neck going up here, that's pretty nice. That works. And this one is pretty decent too. So yeah, but the up and down type of protection with heavy armor like that, don't quite see the reason for it. Anyways, we're gonna save this thing and we're gonna load the build platform and check those turrets out. On the platform here, which you can download on the Steam Workshop if you want it, by the way, we are going to spawn in big fucking Yamato CRAM cannon, complete short and long, on this little tiny pillars, because why not? And the long one. It's kind of funny here. You can see they have kind of very similar costs. Usually when you have the ability to make a longer, stronger gun, it can be a good idea to do that. Oh, and that EMP thing. I want to test that. So we're gonna check this out. I fear it may not be very reasonable, but hopefully it is, because that opens up some new opportunities for me as well to make backup local weapon controllers, it's called. Excuse me. Anyways, so I'm building the system Martin put there. So here it basically is. It's EMP insulated here, but it's open there. However, there is instead then a sub-object on the side here. Question is if this and this is actually connecting or not. So we are going to put a little block here. We're going to get our EMP testing tool. And we're just going to blow up some random stuff. And we're going to, ooh, look at that. It actually seems to work. So then of course, when we hit it like that, it has no other way to go. Yeah, this is acceptable EMP insulation. And you know the funny thing is, it is not on the turret. But if we would now we're building on the turret, you can see we can place a block there. So we can place a block here, you know, we are on the turret. If we did like this instead, and EMP insulated it like from all ways, but not to the side of the turret, when we hit this thing, this can get hit. But now they're going towards higher targets, however, I just realized. So let's lower this value, and perhaps it actually don't want to go there. Oh no. Oh no. This is on the turret. This was not on the turret. So the annoying thing with EMP is that tiny EMP damage actually hits somewhere else than like large EMP damage. I don't know, it makes no sense. So it actually prefers that because it has to go through it there. And if we instead like exchanged this, so it couldn't go another way, like this. If we hit this thing, you can see it kills this block. Okay, never mind. The EMP insulation that Yamato got there, that Martin put on it, with the local weapon controller put on the side there on the turret base, it doesn't work. Yeah, I really hoped it would. Well, I don't quite build my turrets that way anyway, so it wouldn't matter too much, but it would have been nice, I guess. But, well. In any case, we should be getting into fixing this thing here. So it's quite a big CRAM cannon. We are not going to swap out everything on it. We are just going to make it work, as I said before. This one obviously doesn't connect. This one can't even see. So basically, this doesn't make any sense. But there are some different ways to solve this. Either this thing needs to have clear view, then it needs to be put here. But to make it not like aesthetically intrusive, I think it might be better for us to just put some smaller ones here, like 5 meter variants. And maybe if Martin wanted like double, I think we can put double if we have this one, but that would look jank, never mind. But I want to test that later, so not that you will be able to, but remind me. Alright, if I forget it in this video, remind me in the comments field, is that I can say. Anyways, we put the rangefinder there, which makes a lot of sense. Then we can actually have some extra detection behind it, I mean. So let's say we can put it there. Now this ain't EMP protected or anything, but at least something. We can have some cameras over there so we can see over it. So we will not, of course, change these turrets altogether, but we will rather improve them as best we can for what they are. Now here we can see this little thing is upside down, and the view is also partly obstructed by structural blocks here. I can't speak. So in this particular case, I think it's actually probably better to... I don't think we can do much with this. We can add some detection here, possibly. Now, one thing that this lacks a little bit is indeed detection. This is completely useless to have there. We don't need that. I understand these bomb chutes are placed as some kind of a decorative unit. So I do believe we will... I think we're going to do like this. We're going to add them back here. We're going to do a little mimic addition here, so we can just have them as some kind of decorative thing, rather. Because I assume this is more like some kind of ammunition expulsion thing, most likely. Paste all, and then just up like that. No, but what is... What is here, anyways? Why do we have, like, ladders? And then we have this slab? This is a bit weird. Well... Alright, so we have kind of the same decoration to do on both of them. So we have some decorative pieces there, and they can of course be there. Like, we have a smoke dispenser here and here too, which can be useful. Thing is, however, if we're gonna have that, we also need to have a thing that releases the smoke. Namely, laser warners. So we're gonna have one laser warner here and one there. 20 meters sounds reasonable. Yep. That will be quite fine. And if we go down here, we can see we have the CRAM connectors here. So we have some pretty big CRAM here, and we have a lot of barrels. They are pretty tightly packed together, but set up in a neat little way here. I am thinking both these turrets are set up in a quite similar way. So I think I'll actually be able to just copy and paste this updated turret head when we have finished that to the other design, which is nice. Perhaps like that. We'll pick up laser damage to the vehicle within a radius of up to 20 meters. So that's quite nice there. That can be up there. And about these little laser targeter, they are kind of good here, but we have basically some options. And I do believe that it might actually just make the most amount of sense to remove it. It's always good with redundancy, but at this point it doesn't come with that much positive sides. Anyways, we're gonna just look through here a little bit. You can see we have a lot of heavy armor in this turret, and this is actually a place where it is reasonable to have a lot of heavy armor. And actually, I would make this entire front board heavy armor, not only portions of it, because this is a weak point. So we really want to defend that properly. It's gonna make the turrets a little bit more expensive, but that is well spent materials, that I will say. We have a lot of empty space in this turret head here, and I would like to place a lot of weapons instead here, but this is really not what we're working with here, so it is what it is. I would think having just some structural support blocks here so we don't lose parts of the turrets as easily. Just giving it some connection points like that. Now having heavy armor back here, can't say it makes sense. So I suppose we can exchange that with some metal instead. If we're gonna be too thorough, like too thorough, we might as well just rebuild this entire thing from scratch anyways. And I already said we're not gonna do that because that wouldn't be very true to the original design. Or is that just an excuse? Who knows? I must say, we have a little bit of heavy armor overuse, but it's fine. Now, each of these barrels are connected individually, and they only have like one connection point each. Now, there are some new things here in the connectors. So we actually have the ability to add more connection points without them being connected. So let's see here, 3-way connectors. So like this, then it will connect side forwards. And you can see that this one will be connected up like that. So we are removing some armor blocks here to have more connection points, but having that is usually more worth it. It will be a little space issue though, but for the ones on the side here, we can definitely fit it easily. So I'm going to add that for this side too. Now the CRAM cannon's main problem is honestly not its survivability, it's that the shell health is just so low, it kinda doesn't get through. So I feel we fixed this portion on top here a decent amount. However, I think we'll need to just go over the connection points one time more here. We can see we have this turret neck here, and I think we can put in a little safe extra thing. Something like this can help a little bit, and then we're going to switch mode until we can see. Okay, one time too many. Important blocks. Where are you? Here you can see, or structural blocks. So here we have this little snaking going on here. A big part of me just want to rebuild this entire turret, but I also decided not to do that. So we're not gonna do that. I do think it's pretty cool. We have this little fun 3D pattern with like 9 silos of CRAM. Which I find pretty cool. However, we'll need to modify this a little bit so it can provide some more reliable damage. So all of them are laser targeted, which I think is pretty cool. We have a time from launch here, so they are set to explode on 0.3. Yeah. 0.3, this one is here. This is 0.6, 0.9. Wow. I wonder if, oh, that's a bit late. But that's 0.3, 0.6, 0.9. I think it's possible that Martin has perhaps watched a little video of mine. Yeah, I recognize some of those tips, spreading it out a little bit with the laser targeter for the CRAM, and it's a good way to do it. However, when you do it like that, you'll need to be mostly frag, and not only frag, but yeah. So we're gonna modify this damage pattern a little bit, and then we're gonna set diffuse dependent on that, right? So we're basically just going to switch back to normal mode and add that. I think these turrets, all in all, I think they look pretty nice. There are some things that I may not find that aesthetical, but I think it's good enough. This gets a pass. That I definitely say. We have the little detection on the sides there, but one thing I definitely wanted to try, which we are going to do right now, is how well we can stack this type of detection. I think we should have a 7, like we should have them behind each other like this. This should work absolutely fine, I think, if we would have that. All of them can see. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. This works. So, you know what? I kind of think this doesn't work very well, but I think we can add one of this on top of them. So that's you know, we're gonna do that. We are definitely gonna do that. So this chain portion here, yeah, let's we will have to sacrifice that and place some of this instead. But I'll put you here and like that. And you three are connected up and can see. I think it even looks pretty decent. And on these, I think on this side here instead, we can add some proper like detection. Cameras are pretty useful for this. So we're gonna add a camera and a tracker like this. And I think that will be a quite decent setup. We can even remove this and just place it like that. And then we have solved the issue. Ta-da! Mimics. And now it's just better, looks a little bit better, but the aesthetical part hasn't been too changed, which is nice. Right then, we're not going to overly put too much armor on stuff, but here is one area where we definitely should add some heavy armor, and that's like the front shield of the armor. This little sheet taking up some fragments and stuff like that can definitely be heavy armor. This is absolutely a time where it's worth to invest in a little narrow sheet here. So there we have much improved that. And the really sad thing here is that we have almost good EMP protection. These local weapon controllers aren't set up in a particular way. And I suppose we can... yeah, that may not be too relevant right now either. So we're just gonna remove this and that. And we are going to insert a proper EMP installation here. So we need one there, we need one there, we need one there, and we need one there. And that's all. All in one. Put you there. Now we can surround you with some armor around there, and that should be absolutely okay. It will just bypass this. We don't even need a... EMP surge protector, to be quite honest. Also on the side here, I think we necessarily don't need to have another EMP protected one. However, we can have a backup on each side with like lower priority. We're gonna put this one up to a higher priority. There, prio. Let's set that to max. And let's set that to something in the middle, so they have like a clear hierarchy. And to protect those, of course, we can have a surge protector in the fronts there, and that should be quite fine. So we have 2 backups in case a fragment hits this, but that's EMP surge protected, so that is good enough indeed. Now this taller turret obviously needs some better protection around this area too. So we're just gonna jump over here and add that. Very simplistic, adding a sheet like this, helping out a little bit there. And the turret cap again, we're gonna remove that in its entirety. We're going to provide the same type of EMP insulation here, so I'll be back soon. And there we added a little sheet of armor to this one too, and it is basically the same now, so that's nice. Alright, I wonder though, does this like layer make much sense? Not a lot, but it doesn't hurt either. We have some sensitive connections in there, so, you know, why not? Anyways, going back to the shorter turret, we will be starting to configure these CRAMs instead. So we're gonna switch to wrong mode again, this one. And minimize these blocks. So obviously we have 2 little health for these shells. And the reload time is pretty darn good. That's quite perfect. We just need to swap out some of this damage types here basically. And we can't use that user interface thing to do it. That will indeed not... yeah, that will mess things up basically. So what we're basically just doing here is we're adding some of these here. And you can see this is connected to 5 and this is to 6. So we are going to prioritize the ones that are connected to 5 because it happens to be so that the hardener ones, they're slightly cheaper. Not a lot, but you know, the devil is in the details, as they say. So I'm just gonna go around and swap some of these. And then we're gonna check the health values. This is indeed a little bit tedious, but we're going through here. The shell health per shell is about 50,000 now, so it's kind of double, but we're trying to mainly exchange these explosive pellets all over the different fields. Yeah. So it would be a little bit useful if we had a little bit of a replace a specific block by another block. Yeah, there are some different ways we could do it, but it introduces the risk of big errors that can't be undone, so I prefer to just click around like this, finding them. Yeah. Alright, let's see here. What do we have now? 61,000, 64,000, 66, 64. We kind of doubled it. I may not want to mess too much more with the firepower. So, you know, a lot of battleships are very well defended. It can be a little bit hard to get through, but honestly, I think we're gonna do something else for the other CRAM cannon. But as of now, I think I'm going to hunt down some more of those explosive blocks and just replace them with frag to reconfigure it a little bit like that. Because frag is really the type of damage we're looking for here when we have a proximity fuse type setup like we have. Oh, and another little thing here. It can be a good idea to have like 1 bit of EMP per cannon. If we have that, we have a pretty effective potential little noob clobber, as I tend to call them sometimes, which can be pretty effective at taking out beginner players, sadly, because they haven't proper EMP protection. So if we want this thing to be good, well, that's unfortunately a little system we definitely should have here. So I do believe that I added a tiny little bit of EMP damage to each of them now. Anyways, I'm gonna continue hunting down explosive and replace them with a frag. Well, I've just been checking through all of them here. It looks to be pretty fine. Now we're just going to switch things up a little bit here. You can see we have the same pretty decent shell health there. But I'm going to do like this. I'm gonna remove the symmetry plane. And for a third of them, I'm actually going to remove the laser targeter. Gonna switch time from launch to time from first impact instead. This one is going to be penetration depth. So let's say 15 meters. And this one is also gonna be time from first impact 0.09. Then we can have some better crit potential for very other types of targets, or in case our detection is a little bit damaged, it won't matter as much, or if a target is moving towards or against us. If we hit, we still have that. Now I will say that I was very impressed that Martin actually used a laser targeter and a fusing box with a setup little time from launch array, basically. Now, this is a little bit too high, but I thought it was pretty good. Now I must say I think it looks a little bit jank with like three barrels stuck together like this. So I'm thinking, what if we kind of bunch them together in some kind of like giga barrel, and it might look a tiny bit more realistic, possibly, or maybe not, but yeah, maybe we can do some kind of compromise, like this. This looks pretty decent. So I think I like that. Ah, very nice. The copy all and paste all function is pretty neat, if I can say so myself. Look at that. I think that's pretty cool. Now we are going to do the little risky bit. Or not that risky. Just gonna measure this thing up here. I'm gonna add this little mode and try and remove this thing. Is it in its entirety? See if we are correct. I think we are. Okay. And remove. Okay. Then we go to this thing, do a little copy, and then here just need to line them up. There we go. Okay. For the other tall turret here, we're gonna actually make another type of system, and I'm just going to make it on one of these, and then we're going to paste this to all of them. So that's how we are doing for this one. So see you in a little bit. You'll see soon enough. Now you can see this little shell has 73,000 health, so that's much better. However, it has not the same type of damage at all. It mostly has hardener and just a little bit of frag. So now what we're going to do here is I'm going to copy this little section, or rather remove the other sections first. So this is like a little bit scary actually get right. But remove that. It's important that we have allow like stuff to not fall down by backspace, so that we can build in air basically. That mode is of course a requirement to do this. I felt I should have done that for the previous turret as well. And considering they kind of had the same strength, I think I should probably have done this for the first one as well. Like just copy them in between each other. Now I did just disable rendering of the connection blocks, just so you know. But now when you look at these, they all should be about same, which they are. For these, however, we'll actually gonna remove the laser targeters for all of them. And then we're going to select hollow point. Yep, we're gonna go hollow point. So this is gonna be a little bit like the crusher CRAM system that we had on the Gimli before we installed the detonator. And the crusher used the crusher used hollow point together with narrow frag. So that's exactly what we're going to add here. It actually was a pretty good system. However, in our tests, single barrel CRAM systems were just so much better. And the frag cone is gonna be pretty narrow, like 20%, so it can shred some things inside. But like that, we're gonna paste. Let's check it. Very excellent. Yeah, so now we have a crusher system going on there too. I think this will be great for the CRAM cannons. Okay, so I think we should just test these guns here a little bit and see what's going on. You can see when they pop in here, you can see this thing can really tear holes through the armor and surface layer. There we go. Like 9 shells coming in here. Oh man, this feels like a big miss. Never mind. Try number 2. Oh, we're gonna hit. Good. Then we can check this. They are detonated. Here we have the different array. And here we could see, well, obviously they missed just because of that. But here we can see we got a hollow point damage. So if somebody uses very thin layers of top armor, we can really shred that away and make our other guns make through. Well, I think they do pretty well. So we're going to save over these old ones so that we can place it on the Yamato. So we have 2 short ones and 2 long ones. This is the short one. And then we'll just clunk it down around here then, I suppose. I think that's fine. And here we have this one, of course. It will be a little bit higher up. Let's go up here and see exactly somewhere around here, maybe. Now I have a slight feeling that this 1-axis turret obviously needs to be tuned a little bit, otherwise we'll have some issues. Like this. And flip them. Go. Then we'll just need the long one as well. Perhaps one, no? That was probably right. That looks about right. So we have successfully slapped back some cannons. Now is the question, if we control this thing, we can see if any of the guns have trouble moving. And we can clearly see they actually have. Excellent. We didn't do any jank fixes by removing 2 blocks on the side at all, absolutely not. The cannons are now facing wherever we are trying to point them. which is nice.